This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. I'm Alderman Davalos, and I'd like to welcome you to the City of Warrenville Public Works and Infrastructure Committee of the Whole meeting on December 11th, 2023. This meeting will be conducted in the traditional in-person format here at City Hall. For convenience, the public may view the meeting virtually using the GoToMeeting access information found on the city website. Public comment will only be available in person during the meeting. The remote meeting access is for viewing purposes only. This viewing the meeting remotely will not be able to provide public comment via the remote meeting access. Deputy Clerk, could we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Brummel,
Here.
Alderman Lockett,
Here.
Alderman Ashour,
Here.
Alderman Berry is absent, Alderman Davalos,
Here.
Alderman Augustinovich,
Here.
Alderman Wilkie,
Here.
Alderman Widener is absent, Alderman Kruckenberg.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand as you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, this is the time for citizens' comments. Do we have anybody signed up for citizens' comments?
Yes, Donna Svella? That's fine. You can go to the podium, please.
Would you like to come forward and give us your name and address? Thank you.
My name is Donna Svela, and I live at 28 West, 547 Main Street. That's right near Curtis. I'm coming to you today to talk a little bit about a situation that I've had and to ask for and ask the City Council about code enforcement. I have a neighbor next door to me who is flipping the house and been doing construction for the last several months without permit. He has a permit now. This is not the first issue that has come up, but it's one that I think is very important. Just in the past 2 weeks, he decided to store his garbage cans, the big dumpsters, and other things right next to my front door and bedroom windows, within 16 to 18 feet. This is in addition to other material of all sorts that's been coming out day by day. What I'm asking, I brought some photos. Sunday, there were 3 big Groot dumpsters in front of their garage and 2 more on the side, which that's like within the 16 feet of my front door, visible from the street. Now, I understand the code is 25 feet from the curb and not visible from the curb. These are plainly visible from the curb. Since then, I had John Compek come out and take a look at our situation, and he advised me that the space between our houses is quite small. I'm not sure it's an official rating, if it's an easement or whatever it is. I'm not certain. My house was there before theirs. But in any event, we've never stored anything in this area, let's say visible from the curb. Having difficulty with these folks, I decided I would put my dumpsters there as well to send the message of how that looks from the street and how inconvenient that is. Garbage is garbage. Since then, and John advised me that at this time that they are enforcing, that we as a city are enforcing the 25 feet from the curb, but the visibility is a concern because he noted that many people do display their garbage cans visible from the curb. I said, okay. So this, I filed a formal complaint, and it is in the pending stage. So I come here today to ask you, and to, I can pass around pictures and ask you for if there's possibility for some relief. In the meantime, in order for me to comply, and not just have my dumpsters, 4 of them, there's, well, any number, on display, I put up a trellis with ivy so that at least my dumpsters are not visible from the street. So I'm trying to act in good faith here. Now, I'm going to give some pictures, if anybody would like to see them now, or they'll come up before Public Works. And one thing I want to mention, as comfortable as I've been here in Warrenville for the last 20-plus years, I am keeping in mind today, we are between some communities of real stature, Wheaton and Naperville. Now, I did a little tour of their towns, and I did not see garbage cans out there displayed, except on garbage day. And so I just ask you respectfully if you would consider that. And I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for your comments. Can you give the photographs to the city clerk? Oh, or,
To the clerk.
yes, to the
Yes.
clerk. Over. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience that did not sign up that would like to speak? Okay, thank you. Okay, official and staff comments. Start with the mayor first.
Thank you. Thank you. I have nothing except to say that the 2 aldermen who are not here tonight are excused, okay? Just to make that clear.
Okay, all right. Alderman, does anybody have any comments? Alderman Wilkie?
I just wanted to give a shout out to the Park District for the good job that they did last week with all the community events. Lots of people came out with kids, even older people, just drive around looking at the lights and the pajama day and the holiday party they had on Saturday. Different types of celebrations. So I just wanted to give them a shout out of a job well done.
Thank you. City Administrator, or is there anybody else? Okay, City Administrator? Okay, I'll just make one more comment that has been made for the last several weeks, and that is to thank the Public Works folks again for the decorations at the city. I, like many of the other aldermen, are getting all kinds of comments, and now I've changed my route to go back to my house. So when it's at night, I go past and around and see all the decorations and the trees, and it's just, anyway, I love it. So I just want to say thank you and hope that can get over there to those folks. Okay. All right. We'll begin the business of the meeting. Item number 1, consideration of Granicus software contracts. This would, we'd like to hear from Public Works Director Kukler on this. Thank you.
Thank you and good evening. During the software assessment and selection process in the summer, staff from all departments participated in 2 citizen engagement solution demos and by 2 different vendors. The Granicus software was ultimately selected as a preferred option from staff. Their website solution is also being recommended with the citizen engagement and FOIA management options. Rather than creating integrations between the city's existing website and then 2 new pieces of software, staff felt it was better to have comprehensive software that was the website and the citizen engagement and the FOIA management. Integrations or connections between different pieces of software, and when you have one software vendor where this all falls under their umbrella and is designed by them, they design those connections more efficiently than you might if you were trying to design between integration or connection between two different types of software. The resolution that's in the agenda backup materials to approve the website portion includes a waiving competitive bidding because staff did not intend initially or go into the process with evaluating different website softwares. That was a byproduct of the citizen engagement software that we selected. So since we only considered one vendor for that, the city attorney recommended waiving competitive bidding for that approval. I also want to note that I included a memo with the agenda backup materials during the presentation of the recommendations for the EAM and ERP software solutions in October. There was a request to give a detailed summary of all the software costs and consulting costs associated with that. And at the time, we had about a $1.5 million projection, and that included some uncertainty. We didn't know what the Granicus contract or associated consulting costs would be at the time. And so we have this is a more complete picture in that memo as far as a summary, a detailed summary of the costs, starting with this current fiscal year and going through, I think, fiscal year 28. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Are there any questions from the Alderman? Can I just ask one question, a general question? There was a lot of information in here, and it gave me a great sense of confidence in what's going on and who's coming on board and the whole process. Many people were involved in choosing the final companies to write the contracts with. Am I okay with that? I mean, I'm assuming that we still have a lot of confidence in what's going on, because this is a huge
Yes.
project. It will also affect absolutely everything going on at the city almost, so it will be huge. So I
Yes.
just wanted to ask you, as the Public Works Director, are you still feeling as confident as when we voted on some of these things before?
Absolutely. I think we've selected a good consultant to help us out from the start, Baycor, and you'll see the next item is a contract amendment for them. They've been a really key piece of this for helping us assess and select the right pieces of software for the city. And they've been helpful in terms of helping the staff, both in Public Works, Community Development, Finance, and ultimately administration to start preparing for these implementations. I mean, Public Works has been working with a team from Baycor on the EAM software and preparing for that implementation. Finance and Community Development have been spending a lot of time doing a lot of data cleanup and working with them to help make these implementations smoother. I mean, there's going to be hiccups. No project goes perfect. I don't care whether it's construction or software. Nothing will go perfect, but Baycor has been important, and staff is doing a lot of hard work to this point to help prepare for this. And everybody on staff that has been working on it so far is committed to making sure we invest the right amount of time to make this go efficiently and smoothly.
Okay, that's what I was hoping you would say. Thank you. Could I have a motion on this item? Oh, sorry. Alderman Kruckenberg.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the City Council pass resolutions approving agreements with Granicus LLC for website hosting and support services and GovGQA Freedom of Information Act management software.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kruckenberg and a second by Alderman Lockett. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passed. Item number 2, consideration of Baycor contract amendment for Granicus implementation. Public Works Director Kukler.
Thank you. This is the second of 3 related items. This is we're going to be utilizing, staff's recommending utilize Baycor and add on to their existing contract to assist with project management services during the implementation of the Granicus software. Their proposed contract amendment is for $65,000, and like I said, it'll be for their efforts during the implementation of Granicus. And with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Questions from the Alderman? I just have one. So I see the 1.6 million here over the 5 years. And then in addition will be things the things that were mentioned that we're working on, but we don't have the money for. But or we don't have them in this contract at this point. We're still waiting on information. Correct? I mean, this isn't the whole thing, this is just the part that was mentioned in this item.
So the $1.6 million is for starting up earlier this spring, summer with the assessment and selection process. And then Baycor had, I think, 5 contracts total that totaled roughly $230,000 that helped us, or helping us get ready for the implementations, selecting the vendors and everything else, helping us select a GIS consultant, a new IT consultant. And then going forward, the remaining almost $1.4 million will be for the next 5 years. So that's all the software costs for the next 5 years. That's all the consulting costs associated with helping with the implementation and project management for the next 5 years. That's all the softwares that we know about at this point. I'm not aware of any other ones that we could be looking at.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Alderman Lockett.
I'd like to make a motion that City Council pass a resolution approving addendum number 3 to the professional services agreement with Baycor Group, Inc. for software selection consulting services.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion from Alderman Lockett and a second from Alderman Kruckenberg. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 3, consideration of CGS contract amendments for Granicus integration. Public Works Director Kukler.
Thank you. And this is the last of the 3 Granicus-related items on tonight's agenda. You may recall the city just very recently approved a contract with Cultivate Geospatial Solutions to manage our GIS services. They are a firm that has a lot of depth. They're not just GIS people. They're tech geeks, basically. I mean, they've got a lot of experience in a lot of different areas. And they work closely with Baycor on projects, and Baycor is recommended to utilize them to create the connections or integrations between the Granicus software so it can communicate with the EAM software, the work order system. So when a resident or anybody goes on the website to report there's a street light out or whatever, there's a pothole, there's a dead skunk or whatever it is, that can be going through the website and then be transmitted to the work order system so that it creates a work order for Public Works to go out on. Likewise, there's a integration that's got to occur between Granicus and the ERP software. So if there's a code enforcement issue and somebody wants to go in through the website, that it's a way to help those 2 pieces of software communicate so that goes from the resident to the website and straight to the right staff person. CGS has experience building these integrations, so we're recommending 2 $20,000 contract amendments to their contract to be able to create those integrations between those softwares. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the Alderman? Okay, could I have a motion, please? Oh, Alderman Lockett.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend City Council pass a resolution approving addendum number 1 and addendum number 2 to the professional services agreement with Cultivate Geospatial Solutions LLC for Geographic Information Systems, GIS, Management Services.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion from Alderman Lockett, a second from Alderman Kruckenberg. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4, consideration of an amendment to the city code granting the city administrator authority to dispose of surplus property valued under $500. City Administrator White.
Thank you. Periodically, staff brings forward disposal items that are no longer of use and are not suitable for auction or donation. Examples of that might be broken furniture, office supplies, some decorations, things of that nature that are of a minimal value. Current process requires us to come to you with those items in the form of an ordinance that gets recommended by the committee and then passed by City Council in order for us to dispose of those items. Staff's recommendation this evening is to grant me, as the city administrator, authority to approve disposal of those surplus items with a value up to $500 without an individual ordinance and cataloging of each of those items. This is, again, not items that would require auction, donation, anything like that. These are truly items that we are throwing away, essentially, that are no longer of useful value. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Mayor Brumel?
Is this $500 in the aggregate, a group of items that are equivalent of be a value of 500, or is it individual items that are less than $500 as an item?
Could be both. If there are multiple pieces of broken furniture, all of which are totaling less than 500, it would fall under this authority, or one item that's under $500.
Could it be 7 items of $500?
That's a good question, and that would be up to this group's discretion. I would say individually, if it's one item up to $500, then that would be covered under the authority unless you want otherwise.
No, I'm perfectly fine with giving you that authority. It's going to save time, it's going to save lawyer fees, all of that good stuff, and you're a person that we can trust. Obviously, I have no problem with that. I'm just trying to clarify what might be the parameter.
It could be individual items, multiple individual items less than 500, or multiple items in the aggregate of 500. It sort of depends what it is, but you would be giving me the discretion to make that judgment.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, could I have a motion, please? Alderman Krokenberg.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the city council pass an ordinance approving an amendment to the city code, granting the city administrator authority to dispose of surplus property valued up to $500.
Second.
Is that Judy? Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Krokenberg and a second by Alderman Wilkie. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item number 5, consideration of engineering design contract for well number 13 water treatment facility. Public Works Director Kukler.
Thank you. The site improvements and the drilling of well 13 are complete at this point. Engineering Enterprises perform well in the design engineering and construction engineering for those projects. So we're recommending moving forward with them for the design of the water treatment facility. They're ready for that, they're proposing to design that now because they've obtained the water quality information from well 13. They've sampled the water, and we've got good flow information from the test pumping that was done at well 13. The proposed contract is just under $205,000, and that's consistent with the planned expenses for this work. So before we went out for bonds, we worked with EEI to develop a schedule and anticipated expenses for the different phases of work, both engineering and construction. And this $205,000 is slightly less than what they had projected. We had budgeted $70,000 in the current fiscal year budget, and we're planning to budget the remaining $135,000 in next fiscal year's budget. A project will include the design of the building as well as the water treatment infrastructure, consistent with what was represented during the zoning process. So the things like the architecture that was shown during the zoning process is what we're moving forward with in the building. We had represented that the generator is going to be housed inside the building and not outside like our other sites, and that's the plan moving forward still. So we are going to be consistent with what we said to the Planning Commission, City Council, and the public during that process. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions? Could I have a motion, please? Alderman Lockett.
I'd like to make a motion that City Council pass a resolution approving a professional services agreement with Engineering Enterprises, Inc. for design engineering services for the well number 13 water treatment facility.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Lockett, a second from Alderman Krokenberg. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 6, consideration of engineering design, consideration of Thomas Engineering Contract Amendment for Square Courts Resurfacing Project. Public Works Director Kukler.
Thank you. The city contracted with Thomas Engineering Group for the design engineering and construction engineering for the Square Courts resurfacing project. The city had community development block grant funding for that project, and Thomas has a lot of experience, I think primarily in West Chicago, doing a lot of CDBG projects. So they were the logical choice for us to select for that. The grant is administered by DuPage County, so they have a staff person that sort of oversees and interacts with the city and with our consultants and the contractor. And unfortunately, this was the first project for that new staff person at the county, so they were learning on the job. And it happens. I mean, it happens at engineering firms, it happens here at the city and at the county, but that ended up making for a fairly inefficient process. And Tom has spent an inordinate amount of time trying to coordinate the forms between the county and the contractors, and then the city and the county also. They did spend, their efforts did result in the city completing the project on time and prevented us from risking losing our grant funding, but it did cost them extra efforts. They were requesting roughly a $10,000 extra for the contract. Staff feels that's warranted, and we're recommending approval of that. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions? Okay, could I have a motion? Alderman Lockett?
I'd like to make a motion, City Council pass a resolution approving addendum number 1 to the professional services agreement with Thomas Engineering Group, LLC, for construction engineering services relating to the Summer Lakes resurfacing project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Lockett, a second by Alderman Kruckenberg. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, our last item, number 7, is review and file Public Works Department FY 2024 work program and decision package status report. This is an informational item only. Are there any comments or questions from the alderman? Okay. All right, we have nothing under miscellaneous, and we have one more item that we need a motion for. Would someone like to make that motion? Alderman Lockett.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Lockett, a second by Alderman Wilkie. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all. Thank you for coming to the
This conference is no
audience.
longer being recorded.